American Indians respected nature and carefully used things in their environment. Each group had its own language, clothing, and type of shelter and customs, but groups that lived in similar environments often developed similar cultures. Down south, the Maya lived in modern-day Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras from about 1000 BC until the Spanish arrived. Most lived in small villages and supported themselves with farming. They studied math and astronomy and were one of the first cultures to have a written symbol for zero. The Aztec lived in central Mexico from about 1300 to 1500 AD. Besides growing corn, chili peppers, squash, tomatoes, and beans, they also get the credit for discovering one of the best foods, chocolate. The Aztec calendar had 18 months of 20 days, but they knew there were 365 days in each year, so they added 5 extra days to the end of the calendar. Those days were considered very unlucky. The southwest U.S. was the land of the Anasazi for many years. After they were gone, the region became home to the Navajo, Hopi, and Zuni tribes, who still live there today. The dry climate presented many challenges and meant homes were made of adobe or built into cliffs. The Great Basin between the Rocky Mountains and the Sierra Nevada Mountains is a dry area full of grass, scraggly trees, and sagebrush. Native tribes in this area, like the Crow and the Nez Perce, traveled a lot, searching for food and looking for shelter. In the Northwest's dense forests and mountains, winters are cold and summers are cool with plenty of rain. People like the Chinook and the Tillamook fished the ocean in canoes and hunted seals and whales with harpoons. They used shells and ivory in their art and carved wood into totem poles. The Great Plains between the Rocky Mountains and the Mississippi River was home to tribes like the Arapaho, Apache, Cheyenne, and Dakota. Back then it was flat with few trees and huge herds of bison roamed. The bison were very useful to the tribes, who ate the meat and made clothing, shelter, containers, and weapons with the rest. 2 large American Indians groups lived east of the Mississippi in the eastern woodlands, the Iroquois and the Algonquian. They relied on forests and rivers, hunted bears, beavers, and deer, and farmed corn, beans, and tobacco.